Hello, stackers and future stackers, wannabe stackers. Today I want to talk to you about some of the things I'm seeing in the market. I kind of considered myself a prepper for a while, so I went out and bought some land, and you can see that on my other videos. But today I want to talk to you about what's happening with the value of the US dollar. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you know inflation is just chewing us up every single day. Every time you go into the store, prices are higher and higher and higher. But I want to tell you, that's an illusion. Now, hear me out just for a second. Prices aren't really going up. The value of the dollar is tanking. And it's tanking because we have this just insane amount of debt as a country, to the point where, truthfully, our dollar isn't worth crap anymore. I mean, you can go back in history and you can look at it from, I want to say 1913, right? And if you go all the way back to 1913, you can see where we were at, and I'm going to take you through this process. So in 1913, we can figure the dollar was probably worth $1, or damn near it. I'm looking at about 98 cents. And I took a spreadsheet and I took away 2% every year. And I scrolled down to my birthday, which was 1970, and it left us with 30%. Now I'm sticking there because I want to reflect on the 1970s. Because that was when we saw the last time we had this crazy hyperinflation. And I think we're going back into that. And if you look at the 1970s, my dad, and I'm changing the subject just a little bit, he bought this really cool sports car. It was an Opel GT, the poor man's Corvette. And I remember him telling me that he paid about $3,200 for it in 1973. Or it was 1970, I'm sorry. And so if you look at that and you divide that out, that worked out to about 78 bars of gold. If you were looking at it at 1 ounce at about $40, right? Fast forward to 1976. When my parents got divorced, my dad had to sell his car. He got $5,000 for it. And the price of gold was $124. So he paid 78 bars of gold for it in those valued dollars, and he got 40 bars back. So you'd think he was so happy because he made $1,800 on that car, but what he really did is he lost 38 bars of gold in that transaction. And it makes sense, right? A used car is going to sell for less, but the number of dollars he got was more because those were inflated dollars. So I think we're heading back to that time. And you can see the price of gold and the insane way it's going, that the value of the dollar is just tanking. I want to give you another example. Let's consider somebody who started work in 2006 for $40,000 a year. Break that out, you're looking at about 66 bars of gold priced at that time. Now you fast forward to today. After going to college and getting a master's degree and climbing in the organization, they're now hitting that six figures. They're making $150,000 a year. Are they doing better? Are they? Before they were making 66 bars of gold. Today, if you divide that out, they're making 54 bars of gold. Priced in gold, they didn't get an increase in pay. They got a cut in pay over the course of nearly 20 years. So where does that leave us? Well, there was a time when the government would issue these silver certificates, right? And I believe they used to even offer gold certificates, where you could walk into a bank and you could get your gold or your silver, and you didn't have to carry it around. Well, now that's no longer the case. Now we have promissory notes, which is backed by the full faith of the U.S. government. Well, if you look at the debt that the U.S. government is carrying, I don't know that I want to actually put my money into this worthless paper. I mean, because honestly, that's what it is. It's paper. It's not gold. It's not silver. It doesn't hold its value at all. If you look at what's happening at the price of silver and gold right now, it's running like crazy. The fact that anybody actually takes paper money anymore for anything considering how fast it's dropping in value. It's mind-blowing, honestly. I'm impressed that you can still take this paper money and trade it for goods and services. And I'm telling you, that day is going to change. And we're already seeing in the government where they're talking about backing treasury bonds with gold, or they're trying to do a digital currency and some other configuration to try and put some credibility back behind the dollar. But in all honesty, the only thing the dollar is backed by is our military-industrial complex. Because, honestly, if we didn't have weapons and the rest of the world wasn't currently so deeply engaged in the dollar, they would move away from it. And in all honesty, you can see the BRICS nations and other countries, the central banks around the world, they are stocking up on gold as fast as they can get it out of the COMEX and out of the LBMA. And honestly, who can blame them? Look at what we got here. This is a $20 bill. And if you put another one next to it and you compare it to what you could have for that right now, I just want you to think about this. This is a bar of silver. This is what you could have instead. Hold both in your hand for one moment and you'll know where the value is. And believe me, it's not in that paper. Now for me, I've reached out and I've looked around on the internet, and the lowest price premiums I've been able to find is on bullion exchanges. And even if you don't go out and start stacking, okay, just do this for yourself. Go out, set up the account, and take from them the 6 ounces of silver they're going to give you at spot. It's a great deal. And if you happen to be a stacker or decide you want to be a stacker, which I strongly recommend, they have the lowest premiums I've found anywhere. So there's that. And by the way, they're not a sponsor. So many times I see these videos out there and they look like they were put out by a particular mint or someone trying to make a buck off you. I'm just telling you the same thing I'm telling my friends and family. The dollar is going down fast. Do you want to end up like Germany? Do you remember these pictures? Carrying around wheelbarrows full of cash to buy a loaf of bread? This is a graph of what was happening to the Deutschmark during the Weimar Republic. Go pull up a graph of the price of gold and compare it to this. I think you're going to see something very similar. The dollar is crashing. Honestly, I am trading in my dollars for precious metals as fast as I can. And on top of that, I've got a nice safety deposit box that I keep all of this in, because it may take me a couple of weeks to get into the bank during a bank run, but my safety deposit box will still be there. I would highly recommend that anybody who stacks do not keep this in your house. Having large quantities of precious metals in your house is just a recipe for being unalived. So, there's that. I mean, if you want to keep a couple of bars, a couple of small things in your house that you got in a safe that you're fairly confident nobody knows about, okay, fine. But the bulk of it should be in a safety deposit box. You're talking about, I think it's $135 at Wells Fargo for one of the 5x10 by 2 feet long. So you can't go wrong. I mean, honestly, somebody's going to rob a bank, they're not walking away with 50 or 60 pounds of metal. They're walking away with the cash. Add to that, there's been this talk about how banks, if they go insolvent, they can take your deposits and give you shares in the bank. I think that's called a buy-in. Somebody can comment below and fix that terminology. I'm not sure exactly how it's phrased, but basically you get nothing but shares of a worthless bank. At any rate, for me, the bottom line is 6 weeks of cash. No more. The rest of that cash I am trading in as fast as I can for metal, because the dollar is going to be worthless. Now, I know they've talked about revaluing gold and doing all kinds of crazy things with the budget and Bitcoin and digital reserve currencies, things like that. Honestly, the most logical thing I've heard is that they're going to inflate away the debt. And it's been done in the past. You can reflect on the 70s and see where they did it there. And so nominally, in terms of real numbers, they're going to give you what they promised. Your Social Security is going to keep coming, but what you can buy with it will probably be worth next to nothing. If you've made it this far and you enjoyed the video, that's great. I'd hope you give me the big thumbs up. And check out my video on how to clean silver. It's really cool, and it's chemically safe and doesn't wear away the silver. And if you're a stacker, God bless you. You got to do what you have to for your family to protect yourself going into the future. the way the dollar's falling, I don't see a reason to hold any kind of cash at all. If you found it helpful, informative, entertaining, again, give me the big thumbs up. And leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing, what you're stacking, what your plan is. And be safe out there. This world is getting crazy. Peace out.